Pardon this brief interruption. I just wanted the folks that are watching to know that the Michael Jordan hierarchy posters are still available. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the Michael Jordan hierarchy playlist on this very channel. You won't be disappointed. These posters are incredible. Over 400 have been sold. Here is an image of what the front of that poster looks like. It's branded, it's high definition, it's glossy. It's got images of well over 300 of Michael Jordan's best cards separated into tiers. Many people are using this as sort of a guideline, sort of a checklist on how they want to collect Michael Jordan basketball cards. And on the back of the poster, maybe the best kept secret, is one of the largest Michael Jordan pack odds lists in the entire world. Guys, the posters are available, over 400 sold. I have plenty of them in inventory. All of the details on how you can order these posters are included in the YouTube description to this and every video that you see on the Cajun Cardboard YouTube channel. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard coming at you from the great state of Louisiana with another episode of Old Head Hoops Talk, and I've got Coach Pixley back on the channel. All right, before we get cranking, today's episode is going to be about 6. You chose them all. You chose 6 would you rathers. Basically, it's this player or that NBA player. You mentioned something about the next 3 years. We'll talk through that, but generally speaking, for the next 3 years, which of these players would you rather have as the face of your franchise, on their contract and this and that. And so we're going to kind of debate that. We may agree on some, we may disagree on some. We haven't discussed it. We never do. So we want it to be a surprise.
Right.
But just the matchups, just so people have them. I think the first one we're going to do is Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
The next one is Giannis and Luka. The next one is Cade Cunningham and Paolo Banchero.
Yes.
Then it's SGA versus Anthony Edwards. Then it is Nikola Jokić versus Victor Wembanyama, a real interesting one. I'm glad you chose that one. And then lastly, I think people are going to love this or hate it. It's Larry Bird's prime years versus LeBron's prime years. And we didn't discuss beforehand what their prime years were, so that one can get a little squirrely. So we'll save that one till the end and kind of go from there. But anyway, before we do that, did you fill out a March Madness bracket?
I haven't filled it out yet. I got about 2 hours before it starts. So,
Dude, I think you got an hour. You need to get that thing filled out.
Yeah, I'll get it done right after we.
Yeah, get it done. I mean, I know you're just picking based on color. You don't watch college basketball. You watch a few Duke games and maybe an LSU game here and there.
But it gives me just as good a chance as to do well in the bracket as anybody else, not knowing.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. So
that's right. I know. So dude, I have no idea. All I know is I got a bracket. My dad does it every year. He loves it, right? It gives him a reason to watch these games or whatever. He can't figure out how to do it online, right? Like the rest of the world. So he writes it. He's like, I got it in the paper, the newspaper. He cuts it out of the newspaper. He writes in the teams. He brings me his cutout newspaper with his script writing. Sometimes he picks teams that aren't even in the tournament. And I don't understand. I don't understand how old you got so fast. He's picking teams to upset. They're not even in the tournament. And I've got to call him, and I'm like, Dad, dude, first of all, you could text me a picture of this. He's like, it won't text. You can't text pictures now, apparently. I'm like, all right, this is getting out of control. So he's an SEC homer. So he's got Florida and Alabama and Tennessee, all of them. He's got all SEC everywhere. Yeah. I was like, all right, maybe. You never know. They got 14 teams. Hell, it's got a 1 in 4 chance.
It is. Look, it is interesting, though, just the whole scene, because to me, I do like doing the bracket. I think it's fun. There's a few rules, right? You have to pick a 12-5, right? You have to pick a 12 to win.
It's now, like 50% or something ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah. And then you almost now have to pick a 4-13, like a 13 over 4, But then, then you got to get down to the 1 and 8, like an 8 always upsets a 1 and the whatever round. So anyhow,
that's
wild. The part to me. Not knowing at all. Not knowing. I think
when in doubt, I go with whoever's got the oldest backcourt. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't watch any college. I've probably watched a total, and I never watched any start to finish.
Yeah.
I might have watched parts of 12 college games this year, and 10 were Duke.
Yeah, and the other 2 were SEC games. And I think I might go with which mascot would win in a cage match. Maybe
that's fair enough. It's the same odds. Yeah. Here's what's crazy is We lived and breathed this, man. I remember cutting out books and putting a little black and white TV, a portable black and white TV in the book during school, during class on Thursdays and Fridays, because we ran a betting pool. I ran a betting pool with my buddy Eric in high school, right?
Yep.
We would be collecting money at lunch and on break, and we'd put the pool together. And everybody was like, what's the score? What's happening? And I'm telling people what's going on. We lived and breathed it. It was amazing because guys stayed for 3-4 years, and it was awesome. NBA players were playing in college, and now they're just all gone. NIL is trying to change some of that, but NIL is also causing people to jump and bounce, and there's no sense of identity. And so it's obviously there's got to be something wrong when people who love basketball as much as you and I can't watch college basketball games, unless we're gambling.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I can't remember. And here's the worst part, man. I'll watch the first 2 weekends, not tap the buzzer, but I'll watch, some of the games. As it gets deeper in the tournament, I'll watch less and less.
Yeah. Well, because you're out of it. Because we're probably going to be out of it. We're not going to be able to win the money.
But right? I don't care about the Final Four. Is my point.
Yeah. I know.
That's horrible.
Yeah. Who won it last year?
No clue. Oh, UConn.
I have no idea.
UConn. They've won it twice in a row. That's right.
UConn's won it twice in a row.
Yeah. Danny Hurley.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Rip Hamilton, was he on the team?
Him and Danielle Marshall, I think.
Yeah. And Ben Gordon. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's go with our matchups. You ready? Let's go. Let's just go in the order you sent them. Is that fair? Let's just start. Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson. Who did you and I'm going to screen share here, and I've got, of course, Basketball Reference pulled up, and we can look at some stuff. Who'd you choose? Right now, let's just get this clear. We're choosing who we would want to start our team with, or with the teammates. What are we choosing here?
It doesn't matter. Like this, you just these two dudes, whatever the team is around them, it is. I mean, and we're picking obviously. Well, actually, I guess we're really not. When I look at the rest of the matchups, similar guys. These two dudes are somewhat similar in the fact that the ball's in their hands all the time, and they're making decisions and they're scoring a lot.
We're basically just picking who we would want to have as our guy if we were a coach or a GM over the next 3 years. We're ignoring the contract.
Yeah, ignore the contract.
Okay, let's ignore the contract. Yeah.
Because I think the reason why I picked this one is obvious, right? Because 2 years ago, this was the thing. Was Mitchell going to go to the Knicks? Well, they didn't get him, and so they kind of settled for Brunson. And then the Knicks beat the hell out of the Cavs in the playoffs, and so it was a thing. Obviously, things have changed this year. So, yeah, I mean, you just got to pick who would you rather for the next 3 years. The thing that I would argue on behalf, and I'm a Brunson guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's a lot better player than people give him credit for, even though now he is starting to get some credit. I'm starting to get swayed by the Donovan Mitchell thing a little bit because when I watch him play against Boston and they can't guard him at all, like they cannot guard him, okay? That to me is an issue. And I also – we forget the dude's had 50-point games in the playoffs.
I remember that bubble matchup with Jamal Murray where they both just went every game after game. They were going at it. That was really awesome. I really liked bubble basketball. We needed it at that time.
I agree.
If you're asking me to choose, and again, I've got their numbers pulled up here over the last 2 years, Jonathan, just last year and this year, because I think that's the most relevant. We go back too far, you're going to get those Jalen Brunson years where he's just not an afterthought, but he's not the guy, right?
No. You got to do it since the trade, since he signed with the Knicks. That's when you have
numbers-wise, I think it's probably a slight edge to Brunson, but I'm taking Donovan Mitchell, man. I really am.
Why?
I kind of throw out that whole deal where the Knicks beat them bloody in the playoffs because if you go look at the Cavs, every single player on the Cavs is better now than they were then. Every single player, including Donovan Mitchell.
For sure.
Garland's better. Jared Allen's as good, better, argue, right? Mobley is significantly better, and then now DeAndre Hunter steps into whatever Karis LeVert was or Max Strus or whoever. Again, I think if these two teams match up in the playoffs, I think it goes very, very differently this time around. That's just my prediction. But if you throw all that out, just going on player, I'm going Donovan Mitchell. Did you know they're the exact same age? Mitchell was a rookie in 2017. I think Brunson was a rookie in 2019, but it's because he stayed more years in college. I think they're the exact same age. If we scroll down here, yeah, they're both exact same age.
Okay, and I'm trying to look this up right now. Where are they? Okay, the standings. So, okay, New York is third in the East as of right now, and will be third. It looks like. So Cleveland wants. So they would not play until the conference finals, which will not happen because Boston will not lose to the Knicks in the playoffs. And I even heard somebody the other day predicting that the Knicks could lose to Detroit in the first round if indeed that's the first round matchup, which it'd either be Detroit or Milwaukee.
It's a matchup, brother. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
The Detroit team is nasty, man. They're hardcore. The Knicks would be better off playing a soft-ass team like maybe the Pacers or the Hawks or the Magic or somebody like that. Those Detroit Pistons, Cade's your skill guy, and then you got, Jalen Duren and Beef Stew and even the Osar Thompson kid's a nasty one. That's a weird matchup in the first round. Who
would you take? Who would you take? Knicks Bucks first round.
Oh, if Knicks and Bucks play in the first round, I'm taking the Bucks.
Is that just Homer or is that?
No, I just think the Bucks are better.
You do?
Yeah, they're 5 games back, but I just think they're better. I think Giannis is so much better than anybody the Knicks have.
That's for sure.
I think Giannis would do it. He's playing really great. Giannis is playing really, really well.
That's for sure. And Lillard is actually playing well. So I tend to agree with you on that. I guess I bought in. I don't know why the hell I bought into the Knicks this year because I was thinking they got defensive wings, they got this, they got that, and then I did leave out the fact that even though he is a stat stuffer, Karl Anthony Towns just tends to make teams softer.
Let me ask you this question: do you? We're going a little off here. Do you? Thibodeau plays his players like, let's say 3-4 minutes longer than most players, his starters.
Yeah.
Do you think that matters?
No. In fact,
I don't think it matters at all.
In fact, I do think it matters in a positive, and here's why.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think that's like heightened injury risk, like playing a player 3 or 4 more minutes.
Their guys are injured less than any other team in the league.
Exactly.
You know why? Because they play basketball and they're in shape.
I know.
It's just unbelievable to me. Yeah.
Dude, I think it's the same way that the reason there was fewer injuries back in the 80s and 90s is because dudes practiced hard. They actually practiced, first of all, and then their practices were real, and then they played more minutes in games. I was like, I think that your body is more prepared to, avoid injury when you play more. I don't know.
And now careers cut down to 12, 13 years then, right?
Yeah.
Still, who cares? Like, okay, obviously you care for money's sake, but Kawhi Leonard's going to play for 18 years and basically play 8.
Yeah, no, exactly. Embiid, same thing. We can go down the list. So you're taking Mitchell over Brunson?
I am.
The next 3 years?
Here's the reason why I brought up the standings is because
how close is it?
It's pretty close. The reason why I brought up the standings was because I want to see if they would match up in the playoffs again. Because if the Knicks happen to beat the Cavs again, well, then it's a no-brainer, right? You got to take Brunson at that point. But I'm taking Mitchell right now. I think he has more explosive ability. I don't think either one of them is a particularly good defender. Obviously, Brunson's not a good defender at all.
Right.
I'd take Mitchell.
It's funny, though, because like if I said, what is Donovan Mitchell, you'd say, oh, he's an explosive scorer. And
right.
Jalen Brunson averages 2.5 more points than him. You know
Jalen
what I mean?
Brunson doesn't have the scores around him. Oh, am I saying this right? Does Cleveland have more around Mitchell?
Cleveland had. I think that's what and what. I like Cleveland because they're a little bit younger and they fit a little bit better. And I really do think 2 7-footers. I'm anxious to see if 2 7-footers can work.
You got Towns, who's 25 a game right now. So both and Garland, So I don't know. Yeah, it is weird. Think about it. I guess Brunson's usage rate has to be either the highest in the league or close to the highest in the league, huh?
It's probably up there. We can find out stuff like this real fast. Let me ask you this question. I wanted to go to the depth charts because I want to know who's going to guard Evan Mobley on the New York Knicks. And I'm scrolling down here, and I know Anunoby is on the New York Knicks, or Josh Hart, like one of those little guys is going to have to guard him. I say little. I mean, those guys are both, damn studs.
Yeah.
But somebody's going to be guarding a 7-footer. And it's either Anunoby or Hart because those are the two.
6'9", isn't he? Isn't he like
6'8"?
Who?
No, 6'7".
You sure?
Oh yeah.
Okay, but he's a beast.
He's a freaking tank. Yeah, and Hart's the same way. But Hart's 6'5", 6'4".
Right.
But yeah, Anunoby is 6'7", 240.
Okay, if you said I got Anunoby guarding Mobley, or hell, I even got Josh Hart guarding Mobley in a playoff series where I can grab you and throw you around.
Yeah,
I'm okay. I'm right. I'm
Well,
not
that's
going to
fine.
worry
Yeah,
about
I mean, it is, but nobody boxes out. But I'm just thinking from an offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, it's just that's a lot of inches to give away. I don't know, whatever.
He's a better player. That's fine. But
yeah.
than he was last year. I'm not worried about him in the playoffs.
We both got Mitchell with a very slight edge, despite the fact that Brunson's numbers are probably a little bit better, and he's been a little more durable, notwithstanding the fact that he's dealing with something now.
I'm switching it, dude. I'm going back. I'm going with Brunson, and the reason I'm going with Brunson because I've gone with Brunson since the beginning.
Okay,
I'm not backing away, and the numbers are better. I honestly would have thought it would have been closer to the other way around.
Yeah. The numbers are better. The efficiency is certainly a little bit better. Both good free throw shooters. They're good players, man. They were just really good players.
Really good players.
They're guys that are always going to be scratching and clawing to get on an All-NBA team, and sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. They're not going to be perennial first teams, but these two guys are. Yes. Giannis and Doncic for the next 3 years. This is their stats over the last 22, 23, 24, 4 years. So I put 4 years of stats together. Giannis has played about 20 more games. What in the scoring? Obviously, Giannis rebounds at like very few other forwards. Doncic assists at a much higher clip. Field goal percentage, we knew Giannis would be crazy. Free throw percentage, we knew Giannis would be crazy the bad way. Yeah. First team All-NBA every year, both of them always first team. Yep. Giannis has an all-defensive team, and Doncic never will. One more All-Star game for Giannis because Doncic is just hurt or whatever. But I don't know. What do you think? For the next 3 years, keeping in mind that Giannis is
30.
Yeah, he's 30, man. So, but 31, 32, 33, I'm okay with that. It's not 34, 35, 36.
Yeah. That's why I put the matchup together because the age didn't bother me yet. If we did the same thing a couple years from now, it probably would. So, but I think that, man, I'll tell you what, first of all, Luka's starting to get in a rhythm, if you've noticed, with LA. And I'll say this. I know he has a title already, and I know he's been the Defensive Player of the Year. And I mean, obviously, statistically, this is a really difficult one for me.
This is very difficult. There's such contrasting styles. But here's the funny thing. They could not play more differently. But I think both of them really make their teammates better. Like, both of them really, really empower their teammates.
Right. So having an impact on the game. Okay. That was what I based my decision on. Okay. And that's hard. That narrows the gap even more. I look at today's NBA and I look at Luka and I go, okay, you could put him as long as he has a rim rolling big and two shooters. And they don't have to be great shooters. Okay. He can control the entire game offensively, the whole thing. Like, I'll say this. I don't believe there is a prayer in hell that Giannis takes that Dallas team to the finals last year if it's him instead of Luka. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that if you put Luka with the Bucks, that they'd have gone to the finals. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying So when I look at it, Luka's always going to be a horrific defender. He's always going to be, kind of sloppy looking probably. But when it comes to impacting a game, I just think the dude gives you a little better chance to win than Giannis does. That's it. Yep. So I'm going to go with Luka. Not because of age either. Not because of age.
This is going to sound weird. I'm using the D word. I just think Giannis is just so much better defensively that it just covers up that gap.
It's a great argument. It is.
I do. Yeah. I don't worry. If we were asking this question 2 years from now, I'd probably be leaning towards Doncic because I'm assuming being around LeBron, I got to believe Doncic is going to show up next October and he's going to look different. I really do. I believe his body will look different, closer to his rookie year body, which is a staggering difference. For those of you, we've been desensitized because it's happened incrementally year over year. He's got a little fatter, a little bit fatter, just like me. And I don't like it because your body should be getting bigger and stronger, especially in these years. Yes. And it's not happening for Doncic. He looks much different today. He's not 270, but he looks much different today than he did his rookie year. In fact, I was watching some clips and he was dunking the ball off 2 feet with two hands. Yep. And then I think I saw something where he had like 17 dunks his rookie year. He's got 2 dunks his last 3 years, or 3 dunks his last 2 years. Something crazy.
I did not know that.
Something crazy, Jonathan. Yeah, it's really weird. All that being considered, I'm not worried about Giannis 31, 32, 33 because nobody takes care of his body better than Giannis. I remember us having a conversation about Giannis maybe a year ago, and you were very concerned about his body breaking down because he was going through some knee stuff at the time. Remember, he was getting injections all the time. He's played a lot of games this year. I'm not sure what it was, but 259 games over the last 4 years is pretty good. You know, it's pretty good numbers, but he's missed chunks of time because he kept getting injections in that knee instead of just get it fixed. Fractional. I'm going with Giannis. You're going with Doncic.
Fractionally as well.
Fractionally. All right. That's 2 that we both disagreed on. We're both fractionally off on the other, but I could see it. This one, I took 15 seconds. It's over. It's not even close.
I did too.
This is me. I think Cade Cunningham is a future top 6, 7 player in the league.
How far away is that?
It's not far away because if they get one more legitimate player, like you take Franz Wagner and put him on Detroit, they're immediately a humongous problem, and it takes Cade to a completely different level because right now, you know, Jaden Ivey was okay before he got hurt or whatever, but like Jaden Ivey's not Franz Wagner. And I don't mean they need Giannis or Durant or, you know, Booker. Yeah, I don't need a player like that. I need a player like a Franz Wagner. I need a player like a Jalen, another guy that can say, give me the ball, let me get these buckets while you take this play off. Right now, Cade Cunningham reminds me of LeBron on the early Cavs.
Good call.
Doncic on the early Mavericks, where every single thing revolves around him, but he's doing it now. He's finally healthy. Look at his numbers, Jonathan. I mean, he dwarfs. Oh, I'm not sharing. His numbers dwarf Paolo Banchero over the last 2 years, right? I just took the last 2 years. It's not even close. He's played more games. He averages more points. He rebounds at 1.8 less, and Paolo Banchero is a damn freaking Blake Griffin 2.0. Way more assists, more steals, the same blocks, more efficient in every single way, specifically massively from the free throw line. Dude, he is very, very much on the uptick. And again, it's a little bit unfair because Banchero was really cooking early this season and then got hurt with, I think it was an abdominal thing for a really long time. So he missed a lot of time. And then Jalen Suggs being out has completely derailed that Magic team to where they're an afterthought. They were a real serious consideration. I think they were number 2 in the East, man.
Yeah.
And then Suggs going down just changed the whole direction that team was going. They haven't been able to plug that hole. I know they got Cole Anthony and Anthony Black trying to play point guard. It's just not the same, man, because Suggs is a dog defender, and his offensive game is improving as well. I don't think this is even remotely in the same conversation. I would take Cade Cunningham 7 days a week.
I would say before this year, I would say that it was based on ceilings, Cade Cunningham, but not based on production because dude had been hurt and they have been terrible. This year, he's taken the step that we didn't know. Like we kind of thought he had it there, but we didn't know for sure. But he's taken that step and then some. And he is. And I guess the thing that people don't realize about him, Banchero is a monster, right? Physically, he's a monster. Cade Cunningham is too, dude. He's a monster physically.
He's humongous. Well, how about this? There's 7 games ahead of the Magic.
Yeah.
And let me read you their starting 5, the Pistons. Yeah. It's Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
It's Tim Hardaway Jr., who is a statue.
Yep.
Oscar Thompson, who's not there yet, but a blossoming, decent young player. Not as good as his brother, but good. Tobias Harris, statue, but always seems to win. I don't know why. Everywhere he goes, they win. And then Jalen Duren, who is just an animal on the glass, but offensively completely a void. And then their bench is Malik Beasley, Dennis Schroeder, who nobody wanted, and Isaiah Stewart, who can only intimidate, rebound, and guard.
That's it.
Think about that team. And then you got Ron Holland, Fontecchio. Yeah. I mean, what is he doing this with, Jonathan? Jonathan, they're in the playoffs, not the play-in. They're in the playoffs, and they're going to stay in. They're 5.5 games up.
No, they're in.
The Hawks in that 6th position. They're not going anywhere. They're in. So they're playing the Knicks.
Just a matter as to whether or not they're 5 or 6, really.
They're playing the Knicks. Yeah, I guess they could get 5. You're right. So if they're playing the Pacers, and it's Pacers-Pistons, again, Pacers, top to bottom, way more talented.
Yep.
But Cade Cunningham, I think, is better than Tyrese Halliburton. And I know a lot of people that might have been a good comparison.
Might have been a good one. No, I agree with that though. The reason why I matched them up in the talk is Physically, both of them are imposing. Banchero has been forced or asked to do something that I really don't think that is going to be in his wheelhouse for him to be as good as he's supposed to. He needs to be a wing scorer, right? They're trying to make him into a facilitator and a guy. I mean, he's averaging 25 a game this year. He's not shooting a great clip, and I know he's been hurt a lot.
Wagner's the wing scorer.
Yeah.
Wagner's the pick and roll ball handler. Wagner's the guy.
Right.
Banchero pick and rolls, that's a problem.
But putting Banchero with the ball at the top of the circle and asking him to go get baskets and also create for others, it's just not him, and that's the difference between the two. So, I'm with you on that as well. Cade Cunningham is my choice.
Yeah, still shooting 33% from three. It's okay. I mean, that jumps to 38. That's something. Cade's shooting 35, still not great.
Right.
But shooting, 45 from the field, still not great, but putting up really good numbers. 24 of 8 and 5. That's pretty serious, man. And people forget, dude's 6'6", 220 with the ability to get to 230.
Oh, yeah.
He can be a 6'6", 230 point guard. He can be, James Harden-esque, and that's kind of how he plays.
Yeah.
And shoots an amazing free throw percentage as well. 50.7 effective field goal percentage. Really good player, man. Both those guys are really good players. I just don't.
Yeah.
I would not hesitate for 1 second on this. This is Cade all day long.
I'm with you. Yep.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Ant.
Okay. So to preface, obviously at this point, SGA is ahead of Ant. Okay. And Ant has had a nice season this year, and Minnesota's playing better. SGA's coming off of a MVP runner-up, and looks like he's going to win MVP this year. And I will say this. The reason why I put the two together is because 2 to 3 years from now, what could Anthony Edwards look like, right? Now, you could also say the same thing about SGA. The difference is, obviously, Anthony Edwards, from an explosion standpoint, has a far different level than Shai does, okay? Now, Shai is more athletic than people realize, right? But at the same time, his defensive ability, and Shai's got defensive ability as well, no question about it. But Anthony Edwards' ceiling, physically, I believe, is higher than Shai's, okay? However, having said that, since Michael Jordan, I have never seen somebody score in the mid-range like him. And that includes Kobe Bryant and Dwayne Wade. I have never seen anybody score like this dude other than a young.
You talking about Anthony Edwards?
No, I'm talking about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay, yeah, I thought so. I was about to say, because Shai scores a lot better than Anthony Edwards in the mid-range.
No, I'm saying to shoot 52, 37, 90, but from the mid-range. Now, he's making more threes this year. He's taking like 5, making a couple a game, right? But just from the mid-range alone, where he can control it, I haven't seen anybody since Jordan do that. And he does it in such a different way than MJ used to do it, right? MJ just get to a spot, rise up over you, and that was it. This dude his handle is amazing. His gap creation is amazing. And I mean, am I wrong? Am I off base in saying that as a mid-range scorer, he scores it more easily than Kobe Bryant did?
Yeah, for sure.
You think I'm wrong?
Scores it easier, yeah. I mean, you don't shoot it as much either, probably.
Do you agree? Okay. All right. Because people
not saying it's the same player. Not saying it's the same player, right? But well, let me ask you this. It was real simple for me. This was almost as simple as Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
And the optics of Anthony Edwards are obviously jaw-dropping in what could be. Shai's already what Anthony Edwards hopes that one day he can be. If I said, what is Anthony Edwards' role on the court, what would your answer be? One word.
Score.
Okay, well, he averages over 5 points less than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And if you look at the screen, everything else is green in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's column.
Yep.
So if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is better at everything, including the thing that Anthony Edwards is the best at, then we don't really need to compare these two players.
So the honest reason why I put this together was to show exactly what you're showing. Because I don't think people realize the gap that there is.
It's a big gap, dude. This is a big gap. I mean, we're talking about one guy as, sneaking into the best player in the world conversation. You and I both know right now, Nikola Jokić is best player in basketball. And we're going to do a video at some point about where is he really right now. If he gets kicked by a horse tomorrow, where does Jokić finish all time? But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is creeping into the conversation of who is the best basketball player on earth. He's unquestionably in the top 4. For unquestionably in the top 4, and you could argue he's number 2. Anthony Edwards is not remotely, no one in their right mind would argue he is a top 4 player in the world. No one.
Well, the question is, how many guys would you take ahead of Anthony Edwards in a playoff series?
Yeah.
To go win? And look, like this, as crazy as some people
hasn't done anything in the playoffs yet.
No, he hasn't, but I'm still taking him because his numbers are good, and I'm good. Okay. But like, I'd take LeBron James ahead of Anthony Edwards in a playoff series. Look, if you ask me today, right?
Today. Yeah. This is SGA lopsided over Anthony Edwards. That being said, we may revisit this in 2 years, and Anthony Edwards could be averaging 35 a game. He really could. Like, he's shooting a ton of threes. He's shooting too many threes, and I'm sure it's not his decision. I'm sure it's the analytics staff telling him shoot more threes. Shit, he's shooting 37.7%. That's a lot of threes. That's like 60% from 2 or something, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
going to argue this. Okay. First of all, there's a maturity level difference between the two for sure, and you can see it in their games.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
Secondly, and I'm not just talking about Ant being goofy and the stuff that he says. I'm talking about on the floor, the way. Okay. I will argue that I don't believe that Anthony Edwards ever sniffs where SGA is right now. I don't think he ever gets to that level, ever.
He won't.
Yeah.
Well, he won't across the board with across the board stuff.
Right.
You say that. I mean, he's scratching it. I mean, he's 26, 6 and 5, and Shea is 31, 6 and 5.
Yeah.
You know,
it's not as easy.
Some rounding.
It's not as easy.
I know. Well, he's also shooting 7% worse from the field, 52 to 45. But again, part of that is Anthony Edwards. I think he's at or near the top of the league in 3-point field goals attempted. So effective field goal percentage, what was it, 56 to 53? So I still just think Shai Gilgeous-Alexander stirs the drink better, and he makes his teammates better on a completely different level than Anthony Edwards.
What's the age difference between the two?
It's not big. It's 1 year, I believe. 3 years. Sorry, 3 years difference. Yeah, Shai is 3 years older.
Okay. Yeah, but that doesn't matter for the next 3 years for sure.
It doesn't matter for the next 3 years. No. All right, and then the next one's kind of a fun one. It's Jokić and Wembanyama, and I've got them pulled up. Obviously, everything's going to be – this is just the last 2 years, but everything's going to be Jokić, right? Because it would be all Jokić against anybody. In fact, it would be Jokić over everybody except Wembanyama because Wembanyama blocks so many damn shots. For the next 3 years, why did you choose this? Because I don't think anybody would –
the reason why I'm doing it is for year 3. I want to know basically, okay, yes, today we would take Jokić, no question about it. Okay. Probably next year you would take Jokić. Where do you project Wembanyama 2 years from now? And then for those 2 years, do you project him as potentially surpassing Jokić? And I got to take the injury into account and all those things, right? But I'm just saying,
if let's say Wembanyama's perfectly healthy next October. I think there is a scenario where Wembanyama is averaging 30 and 16 and 4 blocks a game.
You think next year?
Oh, not next year, no. But I think in the next 3 years at some point. Yeah. I mean, those are not out of those. Nobody's ever done that,
right?
Since Wilt. But I think he's a person that can do this.
Okay,
right? Okay. So I think he can do this, even if he does get there. If he's 30, 16, and 4 blocks a game, I don't ever think he's going to have an impact on a game like Nikola Jokić because I don't think he's. I think he's got a really high IQ, and especially a really high IQ for a 7-foot guy, Wembanyama I'm talking about. Yep. But Nikola Jokić, for whatever reason, is touched by God. Like that dude is in the matrix. He processes information at a level that I don't think Victor Wembanyama can get to. Like when I think about Nikola Jokic's IQ, he's going to be in the conversation with the Chris Pauls, the LeBron James, the Jordans, the Magics, the Birds, like literally true genius type stuff, dude, in the way that he just orchestrates an entire game. And he does it without it's not like he has anything he's not going to have 3 years from now. He doesn't have any muscles. He's not in. Yeah, he could keep doing this for the foreseeable future. I mean, you're talking about a guy, and obviously Wembanyama is much younger. You're talking about a guy who is 28, 29.
Yeah. So tell me this. We've talked about Wembanyama being the greatest prospect ever to come into the league, and a lot of people have said that. What are the odds of him ever surpassing Nikola Jokić?
Never. He never will.
Okay, so he can't be the greatest player of all time then, Wembanyama.
No, of course not. Who said
Never.
that? No one's ever said that.
Well, no. Many people have said
That's impossible.
He's
That's
the only
literally 1 in a billion.
Why?
Why? Because he's too tall.
That's it.
He's too tall to have that impact on the game. I mean, I shouldn't say he's too tall. If he was, I mean, obviously, if he was 7'5" and built like LeBron, I mean, he could be. But he's 7'5" and he weighs 200 something pounds. I mean, 210 pounds. There's just no way. And if he gets to 280, he's not going to be the same player.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing we saw with Shaq. You know, it would have been very difficult for Shaq to be the greatest player of all time, because if he'd have stayed young, freakishly crazy, athletic Shaq, you know, Dwight Howard like jumping jack Shaq, he couldn't have done some of the things he did. But when he got to that level, then he couldn't be the defender that he was. So I just think he's too tall. You're too tall to be the greatest player of all time.
Interesting, because Jokić is 7 feet tall, and I know there's 5 inches difference, but like, I just think it's funny that.
Right. Well, I don't think Jokić can be the greatest player of all time either.
No, I get it. But just the fact that Wembanyama has been definitely discussed as he's the guy. He could be the guy to surpass Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
No, I mean, I think when people say the guy, I think they mean the face of the league. I think
no.
mean MVP.
I have definitely heard potential GOAT conversation with him from experts in the league. And we're saying that he can't pass Jokić up, which I don't disagree with you on. I don't. Okay. I think because here's my deal. And it's just funny. I heard what is the Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, All the Smoke? Is that what it's called? The podcast?
Yeah, All the Smoke. Yeah.
Okay. So I heard White Chocolate was on there the other day, Jason Williams. Okay. And he said that, and the reason he was talking about a specific player, and I can't remember who it was, and he goes, because look, let's call it what it is. Offense wins championships. Defense doesn't win championships. Okay, we're not. And somebody's like, oh, I kind of disagree. He's like, no, it's not true. Okay, he said, and he was talking about Jokić a little bit. He's like, that dude controls everything that he does. Yeah. Luka controls everything he does, right? So when I look at Jokić, I think he is such an offensive genius. I don't care if Wembanyama wins 15 Defensive Player of the Years. If he reconstructs the rule book on defense, they change so many things for him. I don't care, because I don't think he's ever going to sniff what Jokić brings on the offensive end of the floor.
Yeah, I do think Wembanyama could be the greatest defensive player of all time. There is a happy medium where muscle and height and weight could meet up. You know, if he's in the 260 range or something like that, and he still keeps his athleticism and his agility. And that's the real question with bigs, you know, is can they keep doing that, where he could be the greatest defensive player that ever lived. I do believe that. Yeah. But I don't believe he can be the greatest basketball player that ever lived. No. And I honest to God, I mean, this is not Jokić this year. This is Jokić over 2 seasons, 28, almost 27.6, 12.6, 9.5, shooting 58% from the field with a 61% effective field goal percentage, dude. What are we doing? He's one of the best shooters in the league. He's one of the best shooters in the league.
You told me I was nuts the other day when I said, is he one of the 10 greatest shooters of all time? And you were like, that's crazy.
Dude, he's 58. He's almost 58, 40, 81. What the hell is that?
Look, I will argue it until I am blue in the face. God. I believe Nikola Jokić is the most skilled basketball player in the history of the game. He has zero weaknesses on offense.
That word is
zero weaknesses on offense. No. I'm not just talking about passing and dribbling. And I'm saying when you take into account shooting at all 3 levels, the ability to drive the ball, the ability to post, the ability to obviously as a passer, as a ball handler, as a decision maker, playing out a pick and roll, ISOing into off of the elbow, offensive rebounding, like all of those things. He's the only player in the history of the game that has zero weaknesses. Not one on offense. I'm talking about
on offense. Okay,
that's it.
Well, I mean, you would say his weakness is he can't go buy anybody.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't need to.
Oh, I'm just saying that is a weakness. You can't go buy anybody. He doesn't have everything. It's not like he's the fastest player on the court.
I think he benefits from that.
Oh, I'm not saying it's holding him back.
Yeah.
I'm simply saying his first step isn't the best. So there are weaknesses, but you're right.
No.
His
Oh, they're not. They're not.
Oh,
You're talking about athleticism.
he can hide them. He can hide his weaknesses.
I'm talking about skills.
I know, fair enough. It's complicated. The word skill is complicated. But yeah, I mean, if you're asking me for the next 3 years, I think it's Jokić. Despite the fact that I think all these numbers over here for Victor Wembanyama, I think that he would be green if you compare him to a lot of players in the NBA over the next 3 years. He is coming, and he is coming strong. And God, I hope his shoulder's okay, because I like everything about him, man. I really do.
What's going to end up happening is, if you do argue the other way at any point in time, it's going to be your Giannis versus Luka argument. That's what it would be.
Yeah, defense versus offense.
Yep.
Yeah, I know it is. It is. All right, the next two was very complicated, and I'll just show you how I attacked it, because you didn't give any. You just said prime Jordan versus prime. Prime LeBron versus prime Bird, right? Yep. You want to compare Bird and LeBron in their primes, because we know Bird's prime was special. A lot of people out there don't know just how special it was. Right. Well, here's the problem. LeBron's played 1 billion years. I chose the years. I chose a 5-year span from 2008 to 2012 for LeBron. In those 5 years, Jonathan, this is what LeBron did. This is nuts.
Do you have it up?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've got it up right here. LeBron went MVP, third in MVP. So 4 out of 5 MVPs, third the other year. Yeah. Defensive player of the year, second, fourth, ninth, fourth, second. Yep. All-star every year, first team All-NBA every year. Okay?
Yep.
For Bird, I went with I started in 83, and I did 5 years. Okay. Bird went MVP, third in MVP, second in MVP. Yep. Defensive player of the year, he was third, believe it or not, in 1982 as a 26-year-old guy from French Lick, Indiana. Yep. And then, All-NBA every single year. So those are our choices for years. I have put them together right here. Really similar, eerily similar quantity of games. So they were both pretty damn durable during those 5 years. Yep. LeBron scored it better. Bird rebounded it way better. Their assists, 0.6 away. Steals, almost identical. Blocks are identical. Bird shot it fractionally better from the field, way better from three, way better from the free throw line. And then LeBron's actually got Bird on effective field goal percentage because of the 3 balls, the volume he shoots. Yep. And then box plus minus, and he didn't shoot a lot of threes back then, but he shot more than Bird. I know that's crazy.
Right.
But box plus minus is LeBron, VORP is LeBron. If we get to awards and all that crap, obviously we throw out Hall of Fame because we know LeBron's going to be there. Bird won 2 titles in his prime. LeBron only won the 1 in this 5-year period, right? And then all 5 first-team All-NBA, all 5 NBA. LeBron had double the all-defensive team, so a pretty good advantage there. Both had 3 MVPs. Finals MVP, Bird. I thought LeBron had, Finals MVP, Bird had 2, and All-Stars, they both had 5.
Yep.
Why did it say – wait, it says – I did something wrong. It says LeBron had 3 MVPs. He had 4.
He did have 4 total, yeah.
No, he had 4 in this 5-year period.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why it messed that up. Did it do something wrong? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I don't know why it did that. It's weird. Huh. Yeah, that should be LeBron 4 MVPs. He's got an extra MVP.
And I know, look, obviously it's easy to take the 4 MVPs and go, okay, well, this is the 5-year span. I think LeBron's prime, whatever his prime is, okay, I think his best years needed to include the Miami Heat years.
Maybe it did.
Even though they didn't, because he was with the Heat through 14.
2 of those years were with the Heat.
Okay.
The first 2 years. It was 3 years of Cavs. No, it was
that's it then. That works. Because
3 of the years were with the Heat. It was 2 Cavs, 3 Heat years.
His shooting percentages, when you look, I mean, the dude shot damn near 57% on a couple of those years. You know what I'm saying?
60%, 62%.
No, that's 2 point. I'm just talking about overall. Dude was like
56.5, 56.7. God dang.
And defensively, it's funny when you look at blocks and steals and they're basically the same, and you would never imagine that, right? But defensively, obviously LeBron athletically was far superior. But people don't realize how good Bird was. And I guess there's another thing that I want to think about here, and it kind of could go against both of them. Obviously, when Bird was in his prime, who was his primary rival, right? Was Magic, right? Yeah, And then Jordan came on late as well, and probably towards the end of that prime. So Bird, if he was considered the best player in the world at the time, which many did, he did that against Magic and MJ. Okay, LeBron. I mean, even in those 5 years, I think there was probably, and I would love to do this, go back and figure out how many years was LeBron James ever 100% considered the best player in the world? How many years, right? So out of that 5-year span, Kobe was still going, right?
It's weird. You got Kobe, Steph, Durant, LeBron, and Shaq even.
Shaq was done.
Yeah, Shaq was done. Shaq was done by 2003. Yeah.
So point is, those dudes are going against some pretty stiff competition. Steph really wasn't there yet, but it would have been Durant and it would have been Kobe. Those have been the two dudes that LeBron would have been going against. So they both had significant people to be measured against. But man, Bird, I'm going to tell you, I'll take LeBron. I'm going to take him, okay, in this situation, because I think defensively he could be a game changer. Like, I'll never forget them playing the Bulls, and he literally decided, I'm taking Derrick Rose out of the series, and he did it for 2 games in the fourth quarters only, and that was MVP Derrick Rose, right?
Yeah,
so
prime LeBron is just
So you have to take him, especially when you look at those numbers, and he scored it more often, a little bit, So
yep. Who's a better passer? It's tough, dude. It's tough. They're both so amazing. They're both top 10 passers of all time for sure.
So
right?
I will say this: there are passes that Bird made that LeBron will never make.
No,
but
of course.
There are passes that LeBron can make that Bird could never make.
Yeah, it's wild. As far as forwards go, I gotta believe they're at the top.
Oh, it's not close. Whoever
Jokić is the greatest passing big man.
Yes.
Magic and Stockton. Magic, really the greatest passing point guard. Is there anybody else we're forgetting? I mean, Magic. And then as far as forwards go, it's got to be these two guys, man.
For sure.
There's some other great passers out there, but I got to believe it's Bird and LeBron fighting for that. I went ahead and did this for you. I got LeBron and Jordan pulled up as well. This was Jordan's, and you could have chosen anything. I chose the 5 years that led up to his retirement.
His first retirement?
The first baseball retirement.
Good.
And he was obviously incredibly durable, so he played more games. But he averaged 5.5 more points a game, fewer rebounds and assists, significantly more steals, more blocks, better percentage. Jordan wasn't a great 3-point shooter, neither was LeBron. Jordan took fewer free throws. Jordan clearly box plus minus and VORP all Jordan. It's eerily similar.
Their
primes.
Look at that.
Yeah. The only thing that's not similar is, and I don't know what's wrong with this. It says championships won, but Jordan won more than one during that. Something's wrong with when it's pulling those awards down there. He should have 3. So I don't know what's going on with that. So that's the difference, is that Jordan had 3 championships, but all of them are obviously first team All NBA, first team All NBA, All NBA of all defense. MVPs, defensive player of the year. Jordan was. This was the run I wanted to show you that people don't realize on Jordan. For MVP, he was second, first, second, third, first, third, and then first, second, first. If you throw out the year he played 17 games when he came back from baseball just for that little playoff push.
Dude.
But defensive player of the year, listen, he was top 10 for defensive player of the year. 8 first, 5th, 7th, 3rd, 2nd, 6th, 5th, 4th as a 34-year-old.
Dude, he was 11th in MVP voting the year he came back and played 17 games.
That's a little silly, though. You got to admit that's a little. I want to see the votes on that. Come on, man. Stupid. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah. But in those 17 games where he hadn't touched the basketball and he'd been playing baseball and riding on buses all over the country in rural America, he went 27, 7, and 5. He just couldn't shoot it. He just wasn't shooting it real well at the time. He shot 41%, but he figured it out real quick. Next year, he shot 49% from the field. So he figured it out real quick and averaged 30, by the way, and won MVP.
Yeah. So that's crazy when you think about him stacking that. And look, that's Jalen Rose's argument when people talk about, he's playing one-on-one against LeBron, who would win. And Jay Williams would always be like, oh, LeBron would just bully him. And Jalen Rose goes, okay, so hold on. Michael Jordan had 10 scoring titles. So who was a better scorer? Well, Michael Jordan. Okay. Michael Jordan was 9-time first-team all-defense. So he wasn't just the best offensive player. He was the best defensive player. And guess what? That means you win one-on-one.
Yeah, I know, but you and I both know how that works, right? That could get really bad. Like,
I know. I just think it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. Like, he's the best offensive player and the best defensive player, but it's like we talk about, like in one-on-one, it's a whole different deal. You throw Shaq in there or you know, whatever. Kendrick Perkins versus Stockton would probably be a problem for Stockton, right? But Stockton was a better offensive and defensive player.
Look, that's another topic, and I want our viewer to chime in on this. Let's have a bracket, a one-on-one bracket. 3 dribbles. You only get 3 dribbles though. Okay, when you play.
64 players?
No, not 64. Dear God, let's pick the 10 to 12 greatest one-on-one players of all time, and then see.
That would be fun. That would be fun. What else can we do? We got to do something else new. We're at the 51-minute mark, so we can kill it now.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I don't know.
You didn't tell me. You're taking LeBron on that, I'm assuming.
I'm gonna take LeBron. Yeah. I mean, I think Jordan's better, but I'll take LeBron in a one-on-one.
No. Bird and LeBron.
Yeah, I'm with LeBron.
Okay, so hold on.
I think it's a lot closer than people realize.
Did you just say that you're taking LeBron's prime over Jordan's prime?
No.
Okay, because you said I think Jordan's better, but I'm taking LeBron.
That was in one-on-one.
Oh, one-on-one. I got you.
Yeah, one-on-one. Sorry. Yeah, just to be clear. I'm taking Jordan over anybody in prime.
Yeah.
I'm taking LeBron over Bird in prime. In a one-on-one, I'm taking LeBron over Jordan. But in one-on-one, I might take Bird over LeBron. Isn't that weird? Is that weird?
No. In one-on-one, I'm taking Jordan over LeBron. If you give me 3 dribbles, I'm taking Jordan over
3 dribbles? 3 dribbles?
Yeah, 3 dribbles.
Oh, yeah. Give me Jordan. What are you talking about? I thought you were just like
handling the ball. Otherwise, if you gave unlimited dribbles, Shaq's the winner. Period.
Okay, I know. I thought that's what we were doing, unlimited dribbles. You give me 3 dribbles, I'm taking Jordan over LeBron.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, easily. Yeah. I mean, if you take 3 dribbles, I take Bird over LeBron.
Yep.
3 dribbles really shoots an injection of steroids into the shooting skill. That really matters a lot.
And the footwork and the ability to go by and all that stuff. Yes, for sure.
Forget going by. If you've only got 3 dribbles, I'm going to gap you if you can't shoot. I mean, LeBron's an okay shooter, but he ain't Bird and Jordan shit.
Shooting predicates all that. You're right.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, so you didn't finish. So who do you have winning your bracket? When you better hurry. By the way, I got to get you off here because you got 30 minutes.
I have Duke. I'm gonna pick Duke.
I'm picking Duke too. If you were coaching Duke, if you were John Shire, and you were coaching Duke, would you play flag tomorrow night? I'd wait until Sunday.
Correct.
I would do the exact same thing. I wonder what they'll do. I hope they just. I mean, I don't know the severity of the injury, but. I mean, we've done ankles, right? We know all about that. I don't know how severe it is, but God, man, an extra 2 days when I just cannot see. Yeah, can a 16 beat a 1? Sure, but I don't think a 16 can beat this one because
they've got NBA players. Yeah,
they've got four or five NBA players. They've got 3 NBA lottery picks, and they've got potentially 5 first-round NBA draft picks.
I think for sure 4. I really do. Maybe
who's the 4th? That Sion Jones, or do you think it's Proctor?
No, I think it's Sion Jones, just from an upside standpoint. So I don't know.
They are a really good team. How do you see Con Knippel in the NBA? You think he's like Gordon Hayward good?
That's the question. Is he that, or is he? What's the kid's name that went to Gonzaga?
Tom Kleinschmidt?
No, Gonzaga. What's his name?
Corey Kispert?
Yeah. Is he that, or is he Gordon Hayward? You know what I'm saying? That's what I don't know. He's going
to do a lot more with the ball in his hands than Corey Kispert. Plus, he's 6'7", and he's built like a fire hydrant.
But wasn't Corey Kispert? Isn't he like 6'6" and a big?
I don't think so. Maybe he is. He might be right. Kispert's fine. He's a rotation guy, but I think Knippel will be a little bit better. Knippel.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he's probably a little bit more stuff to him. You know, definitely a huskier cat. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Gotta love them old husky cats.
To get them old husky cats to turn them loose. You know what I mean? We turn them loose Friday night.
Let them play. Let the boys play.
Let the boys play. All right, cool, man. Thanks. Another good video in the books. There's the pinky, so it's time to go. And thank you guys for watching. Do me a favor, subscribe, pass this along. These old head hoops videos make for great clips. We say dumb stuff, we say smart stuff, and all sorts of stuff in between. Really appreciate you guys that have watched us from the beginning. I know these are the favorite videos for a lot of people on the channel, but they don't get nearly as many views because we don't talk about basketball cards, and most of the viewers of my channel want to hear about basketball cards, not per se basketball. So we do appreciate those of you that stuck with us and keep watching these videos. Thank you for watching. Keep collecting and stay positive in the hobby. Peace.